Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please welcome our junior honor escorts as they line the field in honor and recognition of Aliso Niguel High School's class of 2016. Let's have a round of applause for our lovely junior honor escort under the leadership of science teachers Miss Dwin Familette and Miss Monica Baskar. And now, our band, under the direction of David Weinberg, will play the traditional Pomp and Circumstance. Let's welcome our graduates. afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2016 Aliso Niguel High School commencement ceremony. Once again, I would like to thank teachers Dwin Familette, Monica Baskar, and our honor escort, as well as Mr. David Weinberg and our band for the wonderful processional. At this time, I am very pleased to introduce our Associated Student Body President, Warren Davis, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Big day, young man.
Good afternoon. Will the audience please rise? Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. We are very honored to have some special guests joining us today to recognize our graduates. First, from the Capistrano Unified School District, our very own Superintendent, Kirsten Vital. From the city of Aliso Viejo, Mayor Mike Munsing. Mayor Pro Tem Dave Harrington. Council members Ross Chun, Bill Phillips, and Phil Sonoda. From the city of Laguna Niguel, please welcome Mayor Pro Tem Jerry Slusowitz, and Laguna Niguel Council members Elaine Genoway and Fred Miniger. Thank you all for joining us today for this special occasion. And finally, please join me in recognizing our faculty and staff, including our very own outstanding world language teacher, Aliso Niguel High School's 2016 Teacher of the Year, Miss Christina Seppi. Staff and teachers, please rise. I'd also like to add just a brief personal thanks to my husband, Mark, and my daughter, Kate, for being here to watch me give my first principal address at Aliso Niguel High School. And so we begin. Superintendent Vital, and honored guests, parents, and most importantly, the class of 2016 Wolverine students. Good afternoon. Many years ago, as I sat in the stadium of my own high school in Anaheim, awaiting receipt of my diploma, I had no idea exactly where my path would lead, what profession might someday become my life's work, or how it would lead me back to the very high school where I began as a teacher 23 years ago. At that moment, the only thing I knew for sure was that I was finally graduating from high school and that I would soon be off to college to play basketball and hopefully earn a college degree. Seniors, many of your parents might also recall this particular decade. It was a time of no cell phones or personal computers, no Netflix, and the best game for the first generation of Nintendo was called Pong, which was really nothing more than two lines hitting a cursor back and forth endlessly in a mock tennis match. When Pac-Man finally hit the arcades, we thought that video gaming had hit the pinnacle for years to come. How wrong were we? And during this era, a somewhat trite little slogan seemed to have made its way onto virtually every bumper sticker and every t-shirt and every blacklight poster. It read, "Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Graduates, as silly as this may sound, today is that day. Just as today is the last, it is also a first. As you sit on this field, spending your last day as a Wolverine, believe me when I tell you that it is also the first day of all the promises, hopes, challenges, and successes of your future. Robert Kennedy once said, "The greatest truth must be recognition that in every person, in every student, is the potential for greatness." Seniors, today truly is the first day of the rest of your life and all of the greatness that is to come. And so suddenly, the question becomes not, what have I done these past 4 years, but rather, what will I do in the coming years? As graduation speaker runner-up Yusuf Abdulatif said in his speech, "There is nothing more beautiful than finding your course as you flow aimlessly in the current. You must maintain faith and patience, trusting that all your experiences will lead you to wherever you are meant to be." As I look out among you, I am moved by each of your individual accomplishments. Some of you have distinguished yourselves as exemplary scholars. Through advanced placement and honors coursework, you have truly set yourselves apart at the highest levels of academic achievement. Others among you are stellar athletes who will now go on to compete in college sports and beyond. Still others in the class of 2016 are blessed with incredible talents in the areas of music, performing, or visual arts. I have no doubt that we will see your work in the years to come. Now, there may be some of you today who think of yourself as average high school students, though I would beg to disagree. And perhaps even some of you may have struggled along the way to make it to graduation, but you made it. With still others, you may be one of the very first high school graduates in your family or the first to attend college. And to each of you, I say, from the bottom of my heart, we are so very proud. For no matter how you journeyed here today, each of you has arrived with your individual talents and uniqueness. And in just a few short moments, you will each be high school graduates. And so now what? What form will your potential future greatness take? I assure you now that no matter what is behind you, what matters now is what is before you. Our world is a more complex and volatile place than perhaps at any time in history. And yet, because of each of you, I am both confident and comforted. Without question, there will be those among our valedictorians who will go on to do great things in the coming years. But just as certainly, there will be those who may now think of themselves as average students who will soon find their full stride and accomplish equally great things that today may seem like only the flicker of the wildest hopes and dreams. In fact, some who may have even struggled to get here today will go on to now become leaders in the areas of business, medicine, law, education, or the military. Today is only the beginning. And so, starting with today, I ask you to focus on your future where anything is possible. Not everyone will necessarily achieve public greatness, but above all, aside from careers, let's not forget that even a seemingly ordinary life lived with honor and integrity is in fact extraordinary and perhaps the greatest accomplishment of all. A life of character is in it of itself its own virtue and reward. Most importantly, it is my belief that each of you has the potential to go on and live incredible private lives, not because of what you are, but because of who you are. You will become loving parents, coaches of youth sports, scouting leaders, productive citizens, and valued and loyal employees, the backbone of our wonderful nation and the very fabric of all that makes our country great. So no matter what is behind you or what your future may hold, what will matter most in your life will be the relationships you forge and the people you love. 20 years from now, you may not so much remember your grade point average, your awards and recognitions, or your other accomplishments, although these are certainly things to be very proud of. But what you will remember is the family and friends who helped make your life so special and full. Although you will inevitably lose touch with many of your classmates from Aliso, Niguel, you will never forget that special friend who helped you through a very difficult time, that beginning friendship that blossomed into a best friend forever, that awkward first date to homecoming that began your first real relationship, that unique and talented teacher who reached out to you when the subject matter was particularly challenging, or that inspirational coach or advisor who helped nurture your hidden talent in athletics, activities, or the arts. For even in this age of technology, it is still human beings that have the potential to take our breath away. From this point forward, no matter what path you chose while you were here, you will always go forward as part of our school's rich history. Because of you, my first graduating class of Aliso Niguel, today I join you in both hope and celebration. The beauty today lies in realizing that although today is the last day of high school, it is also truly the first day of the rest of your lives. In the words of poet Maya Angelou, my wish for you is that you continue to be who and how you are, to accomplish things, to astonish a potentially mean world with your acts of kindness, and to continue to allow humor to lighten the burden of your tender hearts. And finally, as the late writer David Foster Wallace said in a commencement speech shortly before his passing, your education really is the job of a lifetime, and it commences now. Thank you. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our first commencement speaker, the class of 2016 Scholar of Scholars, Gaurav. Budkul.
Thank you. Principal Christensen, honored guests, Superintendent Vital, esteemed faculty, families, and friends of the class of 2016. Good afternoon. I would sincerely like to express my gratitude for being able to speak here tonight. I'm sure we've all learned many important life lessons throughout these 4 years, and I would like to share one such experience that expanded my overall understanding of life and the world around me. I know that many of you have had equally powerful experiences, and I hope that by sharing this, we can all gain something personally. In my sophomore year, I chose to go on the school Spanish trip to Peru during spring break. I'd been taking European history that year, and we learned a lot about the fascinating differences in the cultures of the European continent. This profoundly changed my mindset about the world as I went to Peru, because I felt the desire to do more than the average tourist and to explore the lives and cultures of people from a distant place like South America, even though the purpose of our trip was only to learn Spanish and live with a host family. Little did I know that my choice to get involved would affect the way in which I saw the world forever. It all began with my host family, who picked me up from the airport. They lived in a small, unpainted brick home on the slopes of the Andes in the ancient Inca city of Cusco. We routinely spoke about their lives, and what seemed to be on their minds most was their children. Their only desire as parents was that their children be educated and make a difference in the world. I could sense the worried tone in their voices, but they were proud knowing that their kids were happy. That morning, I was taking a taxi to the academy, and I greeted the driver as I entered. This cab had torn seats and a malfunctioning AC, so I tried to open the windows, but they were stuck in place. I had a very surprised look on my face because I had never been in those conditions. But to my delight, I found the driver to be very friendly and open. He knew that I was uneasy because of my body language, but after a while, we slowly worked up a conversation. He said he wanted to give me some advice about life because he saw something different in me, and he knew that I would listen. He urged me to always try and be nice and understanding of others because not everything in life comes easy for everyone. The conversation became much more personal as we got closer to the Spanish school, and since I was early that day, the driver took me on a longer path so that we could speak more. He also advised me to never exclude anyone for being different because he had experienced injustice himself for that reason. When it finally came time to bid him farewell after this long conversation, he said that he wouldn't accept my payment because he doesn't ask for money from a friend. But out of all the people I met on that trip, the tour guide was the most inspiring of all. We met him on the bus that was taking us to Machu Picchu. The tour guide was a man who had seen much and learned much, either from his extensive knowledge of 6 languages or from his experiences with tourists of many countries. We got off the bus, and I took the opportunity to ask him about Peruvian culture. He told me of vast empires, ancient buildings, and the legacies that the Inca people have left behind. The discussion transitioned into modern times, and he described cultures I had never heard of. I couldn't help but notice that it seemed unfitting for someone of his intellect to walk alongside me sharing all this information while wearing a simple white shirt and jeans. He introduced many cultures from Africa, Asia, Europe, and more, and I frantically tried to make sense of everything I was hearing. Out of all the things I thought about, one aspect stood out clearly, that there are many similarities and differences. For instance, I never realized that there are some people that celebrate life, while there are others that celebrate death. Some give importance to the old, and some give importance to the young. However, nearly all cultures strongly emphasize education. He said it would make me a better person if I remembered all these cultural intricacies, because then the world would not seem so foreign anymore. It was at that moment that I had an epiphany about humanity as a whole. There's so much more similarity in the traditions of people in this world than I had thought. To some extent, all of us have the same ambitions for ourselves, and there's only a small difference in our beliefs and customs. Inside, all we want is to be accepted by those around us, because humans are innately social creatures that want to connect. I feel that it is a very appropriate time to share this message, because we all have unique hopes going into this world. But inside, we don't want to be excluded for being different. Throughout high school, many of us have discovered that working in a team is better than working alone. For academic teams like Science Olympiad, as well as athletic teams like tennis that I participated in, both taught me the same lesson about this sense of togetherness being better for everyone. We're on the cusp of entering this real world that we've been hearing about for the past 12 years. And recognizing this reality of togetherness will be incredibly important if we wish to change society for the better. I know many of you have already formed connections with those around you during these 4 years, even though we are all very much individual. Our class is extremely multicultural, and we will soon be the example of what it means to be American, because we have proven that these cultural differences do not divide us, but instead fortify us as a class, giving us unity in diversity. In your future, whether you attend a university, go directly for a job, serve our country in the armed forces, or live outside the country, I strongly encourage you to make these special connections with others, because they are the most memorable part of our lives. In many ways, we're all parting ways after this day, but never forget the lifelong friendships that we have forged here. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2016.
Thank you, Gaurav. Please welcome, if you will, our next speaker, the Orange County Register's Theater Student of the Year, Alison Cruz. Got your own copy?
Hello, class of 2016, family, faculty, and guests. When I set foot onto this campus as a lone little freshman in tattered black Converse and a white summer dress, what struck me most was not the students who stretched above my head or even the classrooms with the jumbled numbers. No, what struck me the most was the mural, sitting proudly just above the gym of a Wolverine. As an elementary schooler, I would visit my brother at this school, and I remember feeling so terrified of that image of that bear-like creature with claws jutting out, teeth brandished like a sword. As a 7-year-old, my eyes would always fixate on the bricks that, with unyielding claws, this Wolverine seemingly demolished. I could hardly bring myself to look at it. I was so terrified. But while attending Aliso Niguel, I saw that mural again, and again, and again. But now, I don't find myself running from it. You see, within the Wolverine, I see so much of myself, of my fellow classmates. Wolverines are, on average, 34 inches long and a full 40 pounds, a seemingly defenseless and unassuming creature. But they are far from that. Wolverines can take on animals 20 times their size. I want this to be something we remember, long after we've left this place. We are the Wolverines. When we walk out of these gates, out of this parking lot, and into the great big world that we've heard so much about, we will ultimately feel small. We will feel isolated, terrified maybe. Perhaps some of us will even long to go back to the days of high school, when we felt so big and invincible. Wolverines, after all, are the largest members of the weasel family. And before you laugh at this, remember that the most important word of that sentence is not weasel, it is family. Even if we don't know all of the people in our graduating class, we are still a family, connected not by a tree of familial lineage, but by a tree of knowledge. This feeling that I have mentioned, the feeling of shrinking power, of shrinking importance, may make this family seem far away. Wherever you find yourself, in college, at work, in 2 years or 20, remember that you too can take on obstacles 20 times your size. You will conquer feelings of doubt, of regret, of homesickness. You will conquer that job promotion, that impossible college calculus final, that one class with the professor you just can't get along with. I know we will conquer these things because, well, we have already conquered so much together. Together, we walked through these halls, we brought Mac back, and most importantly, we got through high school. Another interesting thing to note about the Wolverine. The Latin name for Wolverine is gulo gulo, gulo meaning glutton. Upon hearing this, I first laughed. Glutton. Somehow this does seem fitting to describe the perpetual hunger inherent within teenagers, but still, I thought, it is strange to be marked as the animal of overconsumption. Just as I told myself this, I remembered the hunger in the eyes of the hordes of students lining up at In-N-Out after a football game, their voices raw from shouting cheers, their smiles filled with camaraderie and togetherness. I remembered the students, most of whom I will never have the pleasure of knowing, sharing their daily meals, under the blue tarp, on the rolling hills, on the concrete steps. These students are always hungry, itching for a change in routine, a new day, a new year. And for us, that new day has come. We have reached that new day which begins the first day of the rest of our lives post-high school, departing from the people and the places that we have known for so long. I hope this hunger within us never changes. I want that hunger, that passion to follow us all. We are, after all, the next generation of thinkers and doers. It is the hunger to succeed, to do something worthwhile that will propel us forward into creative, individualized, fulfilling lives. It will help our entrepreneurs start corporations, help our writers publish the next great American novel, and help our scientists make even more breakthroughs in the world of technology. I look at you all now, my fellow Wolverines, and I am reminded of another simple fact about our beloved mascot. Wolverines have claws that are so sharp and powerful that they can climb cliffs and peaks. Put simply, Wolverines do not avoid mountains, they climb over them. Every day as I made my way to school, driving up and down that hill through clutter and traffic, I always tried to imagine myself as the Wolverine, climbing my way up and down that mountain. See, the payoff of reaching the top is always about the ability to see how far you've come. I hope that right now, as you sit in your seats under the welcoming heat of the sun, you are able to see your view from the top, because that's where you are, at the top of your high school education. And no matter how you got here, I urge you to appreciate the steps you've taken and the people, namely the teachers, who have helped you get to where you are now. I think that it is important to, before moving on to our next mountain, savor all the memories that we have made here. There is one last fact that I would like to share about the Wolverine. Their paws double in size every time they take a step and press their paws into icy ground, distributing their weight in a way that allows them to go where others cannot. I know that we too will go where others have not yet gone. We will explore new places and ideas in the world and within ourselves. My last words of encouragement to you are this: be the Wolverine. Be strong and proud, able to climb mountains and imposing obstacles. Go and accomplish what no one else has ever done. Do not suppress that hunger, that desire to do more, to discover more. Now, when I look at that mural, the one that I used to be so afraid of, I do not look at it as a looming threat. I like to think of that Wolverine as my protector, as our protector, hanging above our heads in defense of the ideals that make us exactly who we are. Perhaps this Wolverine even serves as a reminder of the strength and fearlessness we need to emulate. Thank you, class of 2016. We will always be the Wolverines.
And finally, please welcome our last speaker, Senior Class President and Wolverine of the Year, Jacob Pace.
What the heck is this thing? I feel like a bridesmaid. I think I figured out why it's so big. It's so we can put it on in 40 years when we're fat. What? No, stop laughing. This is a distinguished ceremony. Thank you, Principal Christensen. Good evening. How am I going to do this? Okay, we're good. All right. Good evening, ANHS faculty, distinguished guests, parents, families, friends. What's good, my seniors? Look at how far we've come. Where you are sitting has been 12 years in the making. The wise poet and philosopher Drake once said, "Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here." I am proud to say that most of the team is here. I can only reminisce about our first days on this seemingly massive campus. We were small, disoriented, and trying to find the 100 hallway. I still have absolutely no idea where that is. Despite the confusion, we were unaware of the journey that lie ahead of us. From the turmoil of sophomore year to our collective Napoleon complex as juniors, thinking we were bigger than we actually were, our ride was quite bumpy. Alas, after 3 seemingly insignificant years, the glorious fourth-year swing was set into motion, and we put on our crowns and assumed the thrones as the overlords of Aliso Niguel High School. Being an overlord is a lot of work, you know. You have to keep the peasant underclassmen in check. You have to make sure attendance knows that you're a busy fella and don't have a lot of time for optional activities like class. And then you realize that every supreme ruler needs to find the perfect match. This match is necessary for the overlord to take the next step in life. For most of us, our search lasts for about 4 months. Mating season is from December to September. Because finding a match is extremely important, especially to your caring and pressuring parents, you come across 7 to 13 possibilities, just in case some don't think you're good enough. And as you know, some potential matches like to make you suffer, so they decide to make you wait 5 months. You spend that time building a fort of raw emotions, hoping to block any unrequited rejections. Finally, the marvelous month of March arrives, a time of wondrous new life as spring spreads to the hills. The ducklings are hatching, the flowers are blooming, the sun is shining, your mom is happy, the sky is blue, everything is beautiful and green and full of joy except your freaking inbox. Sucks for you, but options 1 through 8 and 12 are a no-go. They say your GPA, your good personal attraction, isn't high enough. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Well, soon you forget about the rejections and find the one. Ladies and gentlemen, we were accepted to college. Now with you, yeah, clap. Now with the universities and careers we're moving on to, Aliso doesn't seem so big anymore. Our perspectives have changed, our priorities have shifted, our aspirations have lengthened. We are now graduating. As I stand on this stage, I am beyond certain that I had the opportunity to represent the best class in Aliso Niguel High School history. Just reflecting on the year, I truly believe we accomplished what every senior class dreams of accomplishing. We bonded, we grew even closer to the ones we love, we maxed out attendance at senior events, we took the school by storm with our immensely successful dress-up days, well, the ones at the beginning at least. We enjoyed a very full day at the greatest place on earth, and we danced our hearts out to the lasting ring of Don't Stop Believin'. As I looked around at our beautiful class during that final high school dance, someone claimed to see a few tears, but I assured him it was just allergies. But just speaking hypothetically, if those were in fact tears, which I'm not saying they were, but if they were, they came from the love and memories of the past 4 years dancing around in that room, finding a place in each and every one of our hearts. The way I see it, this little paper they're about to hand to us is blank. It is a clean slate waiting for us to make something of it. It should be our motivation to take the skills we have learned at Aliso Niguel High School and apply them to the world beyond Wolverine Way. Our teachers, our families, our friends have installed an unparalleled fire inside of us. This fire yearns for success and achievement. All it needs now is some execution. You see, I've noticed in life that there are 3 types of people. We have the people who get stuff done, we have the people who watch people get stuff done, and then we have the people who say, what just happened? We, the class of 2016, are all doers. We get stuff done. We have the drive to harness that fire inside of us and make a notable difference in this world. Nobody can put out that fire because the legacy of the class of 2016 will stay lit till the end of time. Now I know the hardest part about this next step in life is to cure this really awful case of senioritis and come out on top after the next few years of higher education. I've heard that wanting to actually make money gets rid of this disease rather quickly. From most of you, I expect to hear about your unprecedented accomplishments after college in about 8 years. For some of you, however, I hope to hear about where you graduated from med school in about 37 years. But no matter how long it takes for you to realize, I am confident that all of us have the ability to go above and beyond what the outside world expects from us and prove why 16 is truly a great number. Congratulations, class of 2016. Thank you.
Can we have one more round of applause for those great student speakers? At this time, please welcome our Aliso Niguel Choir under the direction of Mr. Jason Harney as they sing our school's alma mater, accompanied by Mr. Weinberg and our band, followed by a special selection, a vocal selection for our seniors entitled Unwritten.
Give us spirits. tries are outside the lines. We've been conditioned to not make mistakes, but I can't live that way. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Let yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rain on your skin, no one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Let yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibition. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Let yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Let yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your work begins. The rest is still
All right, thank you, Mr. Harney and choir students. We really appreciate that. It was lovely. (2016) graduate candidates. At this time, Superintendent Vitale, Councilmember Ross Chun, Mayor Munsing, Mayor Pro Tem Harrington, and Mayor Pro Tem Slusowitz will now award your diplomas. Class of 2016, please come forward as your academic advisors announce your names. Yep. It's so great. There is no better day in the life of a high school principal than graduation. Let's give them one more round of applause. Class of 2016. Superintendent Vitale, on behalf of the faculty and staff of Aliso Niguel High School, I am honored and proud to present to you the Aliso Niguel High School Class of 2016. I hereby certify that each of the graduates before you has successfully met the graduation requirements established by the State of California and the Board of Education of the Capistrano Unified School District.
On behalf of the Capistrano Unified School District Board of Trustees, I hereby accept the graduating class of 2016. I recognize all students before us as high school graduates and confer upon them the rights, privileges, honors, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations for this accomplishment and milestone achievement.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Vitale. And now, if our class president for the class of 2016, Jacob Pace, would please join me again on stage for the traditional turning of the tassels. Seniors, please stand. Now let's do this like we rehearsed it. Seniors, the moving of your tassel from right to left symbolizes your successful completion of high school.
Class of 2016, please now move your tassels.
All right, parents, get ready for a photo op. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to present to you the graduates of the class of 2016 as they proudly represent Aliso Niguel High School. Woo! And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please honor our graduates as they exit the field. You will please join them at the designated reception area near our stadium entrance where you may take pictures and share family time. Thank you and good evening.